What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is just going to be a quick AMC morning update for today, Friday, August 6th. A couple things I want to watch out for going into today, and we're going to jump right into it and get going. Before we do that, if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the video, I'd really appreciate it. The new channel here, obviously, and I'm trying to get things going, so I'd appreciate any support you are willing to give. That being said, let's jump into it. So today, we are up currently about a 1.7% here in the pre-market on AMC. There's a couple things I want to watch out for, a couple big things. Now, we've seen this type of deal before. Thursdays, big moves on Thursdays, and drops on Fridays, right? Big move on Thursday, a fake out in the morning, and a drop on Friday. Now, I just want to be real. Watch out for the potential of the bull trap here. They love doing this on Thursdays. They get everybody hyped up. They sell you a bunch of options for the day, for the week, and then they knock it down. They did it here following this Thursday run up and Friday drop. We had a Monday and a Tuesday run up, and the remainder of that week was nothing but dropping. So they like to try and fake you out. They like to get you all hyped up. They like to make you think that the stock's going somewhere, and then they drop however many millions of shares into it to create selling pressure at critical moments that create sell-offs. So just beware. I know most people out there are just holding anyways and buying and holding, but not everybody is. And if you're trying to play the options here, just watch out, especially if we open up a couple percent. It's going to have to fill that gap. So at some point, like you saw yesterday, it opened up, it started to run, but then it came crashing all the way back down to where it opened, and then a little further than that even, before it decided, we were 2 or 3% in the red before it decided to bounce and start coming back up. Now, there's a couple things I want to point out here that have me feeling pretty excited about going forward here. This is a slightly different scenario than we've seen in the past. Like this back here, we as you can see, we ran up to this level of support here and we stalled out, and we started trading towards the bottom of this level of support here, and then we ended up dropping back out of it before we got the double bottom. This situation, we got our bounce yesterday and we popped up actually above our level of support here and resistance that we had previously at $33.50 or so. We jumped up past that even. So we are currently above that level of support. So we've got our two levels, this level from before down here at $31. We've also got our 32.5 support. And then, of course, we've got our bottom here, a $29, $28.50 support. So we've got 2 or 3 layers of supports here, including a whole range of trading that we traded in for several days in the past here. So I've got my horizontal resistance lines drawn up here. They're pretty much the same as everybody else's. 31, 33.5, 33-ish, 35. 38, 37.5, 38, 40, and then 45 to 46. So we have several layers of support underneath us. Our next step, we need to get past that $35 level, and that is going to be huge for a number of reasons, I think. And I think if we can get it done today, then I think that we're going to be in amazing shape, and I will show you here why. Let's go to the weekly chart. AMC on the weekly chart, this is something I noticed a couple weeks back when it printed this green weekly candle here. This green weekly candle, AMC has never had a weekly candle, a green weekly candle with a wick like this that wasn't testing breakouts, that has not resulted in an upcoming run to the upside. You can see back here, especially since January last year when this thing, or January when this thing started popping off, you have not seen those weekly candles. Here's a green weekly candle with a wick. This was even a test of recent highs, and it still continued on. Back here, green weekly candle with this big wick, followed by upcoming run to test previous highs. Same thing back here. You know, you look at this candle before this all started. It was a green weekly candle with a wick, followed by another one that ended up leading to that initial run to $25. So I anticipated that we would have a run coming back, at least back to this $45 area. Now, we kind of saw that week, but we didn't see that after the fact. But we have held up above this 15 MA, which again, since January, this thing has never traded below the 15 MA on this weekly chart, except for one time, very, very briefly, where it broke below back here. And then it popped right back up above and closed the week above the 15 MA. And then the next month was just pure insanity. So what I'm looking for today, what I would love to see is a close above this 15 MA, which is currently at, well, it's not at 792. What are we? It is at 34.80. So if we can close, it'll go up as the price goes up, but not much. So if we can close above that, and even better, we've got the 5 MA at 37.73. I mean, these things are pulling in tight here on the chart. Like, they're running out of space. We were trading in between. We've been trading in between these for a month, and they're running out of space. And I was kind of discouraged when I saw it break below there all the way back down to here. But the fact that it's starting to recover, I'm really hoping that we get a close above it, and we open the next week in this $35 to $37 range. That would be ideal. That's a very, 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 very tight window to be trading in. I would expect next week to see a break of some sort to one side or the other. And here's the situation with this that we're currently in. The white trend line, the wedge line here. Let me reset that. This is our wedge we've been in since the beginning of June, right? I mean, we're right here. We're right there. We have been knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking on this thing. We are right here. Any more upward movement at this stage in the game pushes us out of this wedge, and we can start stair-stepping our way back up. And I honestly believe there isn't going to be a whole lot of stair-stepping. I think it's going to happen rather quickly compared to how long it took for us to bleed down. Weeks it took us to get down to, you know, just this first little sell-off. It was a couple weeks long. So when it starts recovering, you see how fast it recovered, about twice as fast. I mean, it took 2 days to get half of that back. So I expect that top line here, this $45, $46 area, to be our main level of resistance. This blue channel, really, the 41 to 46, to be our main channel that we need to really break through. To really get this thing moving. I don't know how much more downside this honestly has. I think what we've seen here over this past couple weeks is a series of tests from the hedge funds testing retail to see how they would react to this drop below $30, this range of $30. They had a hell of a time pushing it down below here, right? Every time they pushed it down to $30, it pops right back up. Anytime it was below $34, it's popped right back up. Same thing over here, popped right back up. Eliminated at least 2 days of bleeding in one move. So I'm looking for this to continue. I think what we could see today out of the gates is a potential drop back to this 15 MA here on the 4 hour. At least a gap fill back to break even on the day to where we closed yesterday. So I expect at least that much. And then potentially a bounce back up. If we get a bounce and we bounce back through the $35 level, you're going to see 37 in a flash. And then if it manages to push through 37, so this thing, once it moves, it's going to move. Like, we're sitting here talking weeks and weeks about how it's bleeding this, bleeding that. It's going to bounce back and be right back when it decides to do it. It's going to bounce back and be right back in this $53 to $60 channel in a matter of days, in my opinion. And then hang out there. But what we want to see is a break out of this wedge, and then a using this line as a support, a trickle back on the top of this wedge, and then bounce off of that wedge to continue going. There's nothing wrong with breaking out and then dropping back, but we want to hold out of that wedge and keep going. So that's what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for a break out of this wedge, or a continuation, just consolidation here between or above this 15 MA of $32. And if it doesn't hold that, we've got our support here at 31. I don't want to go back below 31. I don't think that would be ideal, but I could see it dropping anywhere from where it is now back to the $31 level before it decides to rip back up. And you see a similar thing here. It came down to just above that previous low, then dropped momentarily back to that low before it ripped up 40 something percent. So that's what I'm looking for today. Could be a wild day, could be a boring day, but I think it's going to be pretty volatile towards the first, the first hour and a half or so. You're going to see a lot of up and down to start the day, like we have been seeing each and every morning here for a while, for the most part. So here's to hoping we have a nice good day, and I hope you guys are set and ready to close this week out strong. I hope you guys have a good day. I will be back later with a midday update on AMC, and I will try to put another video out tonight. I'm going to redo that video I did last night, the Scarlett Johansson video. I know it was boring. I could barely watch the whole thing myself. And so I'm gonna cut that down. I'm gonna shorten it up. I'm gonna give you the main points, and I'm gonna take that and go further into this whole AMC being fundamentally overvalued thing, and how long can people keep saying that, because there are many things happening with AMC that can go against that argument. So at any point, this can also become a fundamental play as well as a short squeeze play. We just need any one big news from AMC could do it. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll catch y'all when I come back later on this afternoon for the midday update. Have a good one.